4 kind of interface. And that's how we've been thinking, but we're not going to do that anymore. I'm thinking the way we're going to use is in landscape mode, and we will still have a shooter object on the left side, so it's going to use a different icon. I think something more like a guy yelling. It's a guy yelling. And when he speaks, this animation happens. Yeah. It's a person or a turtle yelling. In the middle, there will be the effect stuff. So this is just, I mean, this is a very basic application we're writing. We're not writing like Audacity. This is a very specific purposed application which just does voice conversion for novel voice effects. So it's going to be a basic left to right flow order. I mean, expect the user to start here, and the events on the screen will happen from left to right visually. And they see that once, and it'll be pretty easy to understand. So in the middle will be the actual affecting thing, like yeah. I mean, the other option is just not to have the input. But the reason I want to have the input shown, like, is because then we can have also a file, audio file, like MP3. We can use the library. I think we can do that. I'm not sure. And I don't know, one other option might be I thought there were a few others I thought of. We could just do text or something. And this could just be a text-to-speech thing. We could just use a default speaker. I mean, it's not the best quality, but sometimes you don't want to be speaking to a mic. I don't know. And in the middle we have, so I'm thinking these are going to be on bands. This is going to be a band. And maybe you can thumb through it, so if you put your thumb on and you flick it up, something goes that way. Everything shifts up. And maybe there will be a lot of just icons, like pre-recorded stuff here. I don't know. Like, I have to, well, right now is when, but I'm still thinking through this, as you can tell. Yeah. If these all seems not really appealing, we can just ditch all of that. But what's cool about this is here we can do like we can draw, like, I don't know, fireballs or whatever, some kind of moving thing that goes and hits the effect. So this will be like cat effect. It turns your voice into like a cat. And I'm sorry, but I'm gonna try cat now. Yeah. So when it hits this, so when you're speaking, we don't, I mean, because here's the thing, we have that restriction where you can't speak and have mic output at the same time because of the feedback issue. So there's going to be a period of time where we can't process, I mean, we can't output sound on the screen. So that's the purpose of this half of the screen, I guess. It's so you can have this visual thing happening while the guy is saying something, and this can interact with the sound. Like this could shake up and down, or be like a waveform picture. I don't know, something that interacts with the input, what the person is saying to the mic. And yeah, there will be like a cat and lots of other stuff. The echo, I don't know how you'll draw echo, but we can use text too. I mean, echo, we can also just draw like that, or forward and backwards. Something, doesn't matter. And there will be lots of these effects. Hopefully there's like, if we want to release within a month, I think maybe 10 effects, 10 to 15 effects are reasonable. And a lot of them will reuse the pitch shifting stuff, so it's interesting. Yeah. And again, once the sound hits here, it starts interacting with this visually and starts spitting out something here. At this point, we could output the sound immediately, but we could also just wait until it could also propagate. So this will propagate left to right, and this propagates left to right. You could also wait until it hits something on the right side, and this is kind of interesting. And these things on the right side, I mean, so this is going to be input, and this will be transformation. And so naturally the output will be output. The right side will be output. So a speaker there will be an icon for that. There might be an icon for file, to save it to a file. Maybe MP3, or there's licensing issues for writing MP3s, so maybe WAV. And maybe there is an email. You could directly email it. Yeah. Yeah, I think I do want this kind of thing. And the reason is that once the person says it, they can later just tap this and it'll spit out the previous input. And same for these guys. So only thing we can't do with this is loop them around. Make a feedback like this, and that might be okay. I mean, we can create some really nasty sounds by doing stuff like that. What is this supposed to be? Email. That's email, by the way. Luckily in this program, I have the ability to use text. So that's nice. Oh. Yeah, but I don't know how to get rid of them. Yeah, this is the problem I came across last time. It was really hard to delete the selection. In fact, yeah. You have to press enter, I think. Yeah, that's right. You press enter and that kills it. That sets the position. It's kind of a weird system, but let's redo that. Redo that. Redo that. Whoa, what's this? Cut. Paste. Yeah, I don't know how that works. Okay, but if you press enter, then it gets taken in. Yeah. Wow. So I don't know about this design. I mean, there's something very Froggerish about it. If you, I'm talking about the game Frogger, where you went from bottom to top, trying not to get squished, and you could do some funny things. I mean, we could get cutesy and have trucks going down, or stuff that flies down and chops out parts of sound, kind of creating like a sound world to play in. And possibly the user could play with this part. Yeah, and there we will be able to use our nothing effect that we implemented, because you do want to pass straight through without affecting. Yeah. But I don't know, I think something like this could be pretty fun, because we can add all these other things. And the basic interface, I think if people see bars like this, they will understand you can flip them to move, because they'll touch this at some point. People love touching stuff. Yeah, and maybe we can add objects here that yeah, maybe stuff will fall out of the sky sometimes, and they can drag them from the sounds and they'll interact somehow. I'm not sure exactly, but basically, I want those are like extra fluffy stuff, that additions on top of the basic model. I want the basic model, these 3 bars, to be there because it provides this rigid framework for the user to play with. Because it sucks if you create some graph and you can't create sound with it because things aren't aligned. These are on a grid, so they're always going to, an input always will go to the output by default. But if you have some loosey-goosey thing like our current application, it is very hard to get the input to the output, because it has to bounce around the right way. I can control this one block, but sometimes I just want to go from input to output. That's the basic functionality of this, an effect processor. So that's the main reason I want this rigid framework. It's a grid, right? And yeah, the other stuff I think we can add later. And the first version, we probably don't need that. I mean, yeah. I'm not so sure about this part, the output part, but we'll see. Another one was YouTube. Maybe you could do a direct upload to YouTube, since uploading to YouTube is getting pretty easy. Might be a very good way to have people share stuff too. The only thing is, if it's just a voice processor, if there's not a lot of weird interaction stuff, like stuff Jim O'Rourke would like, it's not going to have so much replay value. Yeah, it might be novel to have your voice sound like a cat and you say like meow to your friend, but I don't know, humans are already pretty good at that, and we'll see. The other option is to somehow convert this into... There are definitely going to be game elements, but it's just a matter of degree. If you are into these like media artsy things, you probably know about, what's that called? Electroplankton. That was on